there is something we mistake for evidence far more often than we realize: confidence. When someone speaks clearly, forcefully, and without hesitation, it feels like they know what they are talking about. And when someone sounds cautious, qualified, or uncertain, it feels like they don't. That feeling is powerful, and it's also misleading. So let's slow this down and separate two things that often get blurred together. Confidence is a psychological signal. Evidence is an epistemic standard. Those are not the same thing. Confidence tells us how sure someone feels. Evidence indicates how well a claim is supported by reality, data, reasons, and tests that could have yielded different results. But in everyday thinking, confidence often does the work that evidence is supposed to do. Here's why that happens. The human mind is tuned to fluency. We trust ideas that are easy to process. We trust speakers who sound decisive. We trust statements that arrive fully formed, without hesitation or qualification. Confidence feels like competence, but the feeling is not a reliable guide. In fact, outside carefully structured tasks, the relationship between confidence and accuracy is often modest. And it can even go in the wrong direction, with the most confident sometimes being the least accurate. Consider how experts usually speak. They qualify their claims. They acknowledge uncertainty. They explain limitations and alternatives, not because they know less, but because they know more. They understand where the edges of their knowledge are. Now contrast that with someone who speaks in absolutes. They are sure. They are decisive. They leave no room for doubt. That sounds persuasive, but certainty is cheap. It does not by itself require understanding. It does not guarantee evidence. It does not create accountability. This is why misinformation spreads so easily. A confident claim travels faster than a careful one. A simple answer outcompetes a nuanced one, and a bold statement feels more satisfying than a qualified explanation. This shows up everywhere. A friend gives advice with total certainty, even though they have limited experience. A viral clip delivers a strong opinion in 30 seconds with no context or sourcing. An influencer speaks confidently outside their domain, and that confidence carries them farther than the facts alone would. In each case, confidence fills the gap where evidence should be. And most of the time, we don't notice. We notice how it feels. There is another reason this mistake is so persistent. Uncertainty makes us uncomfortable. We want closure. We want answers. We want the feeling that something has been settled. Confidence offers that feeling. Evidence often does not because it comes with error bars, probabilities, and caveats. That feels unsatisfying, so we reach for confidence instead. But here is the problem. Confidence does not reliably track truth. It often reflects personality, incentives, and social dynamics more than it reflects evidence. Someone can be confident because they are mistaken. Someone can be confident because they are rewarded for sounding confident. Someone can be confident because they have never had to defend their claims. None of that makes them correct. This is especially important when evaluating claims in public spaces. The loudest voice is not the most informed. The clearest answer is not the most accurate. The strongest conviction is not the strongest case. If confidence were evidence, persuasion would be truth tracking. It isn't. This is where a simple filter comes in handy. When you hear a confident claim, ask yourself a few questions. What would change this person's mind? What evidence are they relying on? What alternatives have they considered? If the answer to those questions is unclear, confidence should not reassure you. It should prompt caution. Because real knowledge is responsive. It adjusts when new information appears. It weakens when evidence is missing. It strengthens when predictions hold up. Confidence does none of that on its own. This does not mean confidence is always bad. Confidence can be appropriate when evidence is strong. Confidence can reflect experience and familiarity. But confidence is never a substitute for justification. And mistaking the two is how weak ideas gain traction. So here is the core idea to take with you. Confidence answers how something feels. Evidence helps answer whether it is true. Clear thinking means learning to separate the signal from the substance. It means resisting the pull of certainty when the situation calls for humility. And it means remembering that the most trustworthy answers often sound the least satisfying, not because they are weak, but because they are honest.